touch the YouTube channel at this time to do the testing. We are gonna hold off on the next steps until we know if that works.
Motion.
Yeah, so I have a motion to table, the YouTube versus Facebook video streaming and
I'll second.
Second, discussion. You have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carried. Shoot.
I just have a question so we can clarify for Jen tomorrow, because she does the majority of this work. When we talk about creating the YouTube channel, obviously she's gotta create the channel and so forth. With regard to the interface between the website and a YouTube channel.
that's down the road.
So essentially, all we're gonna do is just test it, like do a test video, see if the clarity is better, period, for now.
We can understand from town web what the difference is.
Yeah, okay. Okay, just so she is clear on what she needs to do, and that's simply create the channel, do some test videos, see if they're clearer.
I mean, you will help with the test video
Right,
if
you-
needed,
you were
so,
saying
so you have more bodies in here, if that makes a difference, or,
Sure.
I will follow up with Jen as well.
Okay, all right, moving on. Update on emergency management plan. She had to first explain the differences, what we got going on here between the two plans.
Well, we really haven't, as Kim kind of stated earlier on, that they were excited that we got our emergency, management plan done and in. I have not heard anything about that. I don't know if I should be talking about the other things, because it's not on the agenda, so we might have to just.
Well, what is the other one actually called? The one that the county wants us to approve?
Walworth, they don't necessarily want us to approve it. It's Walworth County Natural Hazards Mitigation
Natural
Plan,
hazards.
2022 to 2026. It's their 5-year update.
And I think if you wouldn't mind taking a look, Joe, I think you had that one that we had sent over a year ago to them and updated for us.
But the county is saying they want all the municipalities to adopt it, not approve it, adopt it, otherwise they're not available for FEMA funding.
Right in their summary, it says, once the county adopts it, all towns are covered.
Then why do they want us to adopt?
They don't. They want those jurisdictions that participated in this
That's what you're gonna
packet.
Well, we didn't
We didn't participate. It was
No.
cities and villages that participated.
Okay, the village, yes, we talked about that a lot.
The only thing we did was updated.
But we can't even really be having this discussion because it's
Right,
not on the
right,
agenda.
well, that, the confusion was that we were talking about the same plan, they're two different
They're
things.
two different plans.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as far as our emergency management plan, we submitted it, we have not got comments back, correct?
I do have an update on that though, I got the last map for the camps, so I will be adjusting that, I'm not gonna send it on to county, but when we get that final approval, we'll add that in.
Very good. Okay, new business, discussion regarding amending records retention in regards to video recording and authorized criminals to amend if needed. And I believe you have covered that in a couple of your meeting minutes, you had.
So last month, we had tabled video storage until Attorney
So we
Miller,
can talk to the state,
right,
town records board, and I got a response that I forwarded to the board. But the scenario I gave is, do we have to choose which medium is only good for the 90 days? If the clerk listens to audio, do we only keep the audio for 90 days after the minutes are prepared? What if she uses video and audio? Basically, the response was, we don't have to pick which medium, 90 days is what's required. And, I believe you said you,
I use both, because when somebody leans back and I can't hear what they've said, the audio, because I can hear it much better than out of that speaker, I'll go to the audio, so I do use both. The majority of the time I'm using video, but I have had to go and pull the audio recording to listen to what some people have said to clarify for minutes.
and that was the scenario that I presented to them. Well, you all have the email.
And that finding was after our last communications committee meeting that you shared with the board.
Yeah, April
And-
4th.
So I would recommend that we table this issue until the communications committee can better understand your findings and what the town may be.
We'll just
interested
follow
in.
up with Wisconsin Historical Society. I mean, you have it in writing from them.
They are.
90 days.
Right, but I think there are other communities that have a policy or other things.
Chairman Kwiatkowski?
Sure.
Deputy Clerk Treasurer Loth and I have access to the Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association clerk list, which covers probably over 1,600 municipalities in the state of Wisconsin. We sent out a request for information about any towns that have a video retention requirement and only received a massive response of none.
Not one.
So not one municipality, town in the entire state of Wisconsin has a video retention requirement.
But we would still have to do it
For
for
90 days.
90 days after the minutes are prepared. So regardless of what you wanna do in the future, our current ordinance only speaks to the audio recordings. But now we have video in the town, so video, that word has to make it into our ordinance at some point in time.
So you're asking us to authorize you to amend our retention policy to say that after 90 days, we have.
I think this might have been carryover from last
What?
month.
I know, I was like,
Okay.
Alright, Chad,
So is that what you're asking?
Nice.
no.
I'm not specifically asking for myself, but I'm telling you it's gonna have to be, it's gonna be required at some point.
okay, Chad,
Yeah, and again, I'm just speaking on what I don't know, cause it's a question, and what I have heard. Most towns don't even have it. And that's fine for them, but this was something that was brought up at an annual meeting that was voted on by the electors and was kind of a big issue. That's why we have this. I get it, I know we don't reinventing wheels and there's a lot of work and all that stuff, but I also do know that there's been questions with meetings, even going back to our annual meetings 2 years ago. And I'll tell you what, it's real nice having those videos, I mean, and I'm just saying that, you know, and no offense to any of our minutes, but there is that detail that sometimes that don't get into the minutes. If
And
it's not,
Not supposed to be,
pardon?
not supposed to be in there.
the minute,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but not everything is, and I'm not saying our minutes, I
Right.
mean, it's great, and you
Yeah, I know what
do
you're
great, but it's come into a few times where, well, let's look it up. That's not what I said, well, and they did, sorry, I was wrong, that's not how I remember saying it, but, so I said, if it doesn't cost anything, what's the difference?
Well, I will
What's the
tell
difference
you,
if there's a year's worth?
My
There's
legal
a-
opinion is if you're not legally required to do something, don't. Because then the onus is on you to make
If
sure that,
something fails.
right,
Where's
What do
the
you mean if
standard
something
charge?
fails? I don't know what that
Because it's
means.
not $1,000.
if the
It's much
storage,
more,
I
yeah.
think.
The storage fails, you're not gonna have your 90 days anyway, right?
You might be able to recreate that or bring it back up somehow.
You know, I'm just asking.
well, we still
And
have the
there are
same topic.
Yes,
government.
we're talking
there
about
are-
retention,
Okay,
There are government storage options as well. But and so again,
And
I
YouTube.
would, yes, but YouTube, again, I would make a motion that we table this until the communication committee can provide further detail and
Second.
recommendation.
Second.
alright, we have motion second to
Wait,
table.
but, can I have the motion again?
Yeah, that I would table the discussion around video storage.
This
And-
is item.
Yeah, I think we already did, yeah.
Table the motion, then table the topic until the communications committee can review options.
Alright, we have a discussion,
And this one is regarding video storage.
correct,
Well, discussion is the inclusion of what we now know We know.
We do, it's been pretty good, I think,
Jen has those numbers.
yeah, she had, I think there's been an example of, like, it's been viewed like 20 times, you know, different meetings, some of them, depending on the topics, have been viewed 20 times, or, yeah, I don't recall the specifics, so
There's
it
two.
depends on the topic.
And that's a tough one, because like when I'm doing minutes, I might go in,
Oh,
and then I'm out, and then I'm in, and then I'm out, and then I'm in.
And then it just.
You know, because it's a 3-hour meeting, and I'm on the phone, and
Alright, so the motion on the floor is to table 10A until the communication committee discusses it some more. I don't see a problem with pushing it out only because there's more, again.
I don't think my legal recommendation will change. Just saying. But I'm in no rush to update the ordinance this month.
Right. Well, let's vote on the motion. to table. Roll call
Was there a second, I'm sorry?
yeah, check wheel.
Okay.
vote. Roll call, anybody?
Church, I,
Booker,
there's,
Markowski, aye. Motion carries.
What did Bill?
Five oh. Okay. Alright, discussion and possible acceptance of Taylor Computer Services proposal. Man, first of all, this goes on the timeline of us getting the right century here. A lot of things we've improved in town hall, with, you know, facilities and carpeting, plumbing, and the computer system, we kind of limped along a little bit. We did get more help than we ever had before, but we haven't answered some of the key components that these guys nailed with what, couple interviews with you guys? This is stuff that has.
One discussion.
Yeah.
One. And, so, getting this accomplished should be a priority. The question is, how much of it, you know? All of it is important, but when I went through this, I had a hard time determining what the total was. I know there's, you know, one-time costs and there's annual costs.
$57,000.
I don't know. What is the total?
There are priorities in here for the police department that need to be moved forward before anything else.
Which are listed under what, PD clerk?
Let's see. It would be,
Yeah,
it is the third page from the back. AD server, proposal for town of Detroit AD server.
do we have any other folks on this?
Yeah, Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna ask him, but it sounds of it, that talking with this company, they answered a lot of your questions, but we kinda did this already with the other gentleman, sounds like, that helped us out, so I'm just wanting to make sure that we don't do that same thing again, with that.
With Hazel, he works with a lot of other municipalities, but not with police departments. Our police department has to be our priority.
No, I'm definitely okay with that, I'm just
Yeah,
asking about the
this
company that's
company-
using.
Did the Village of Eagles Police Department, they did everything, I mean, Todd can give more information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
But-
asking, because I don't wanna be playing this game where now all of a sudden we could have different equipment and all that might have been done before, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's part of it is,
Just going around and around.
this Taylor Communications, we haven't come in, myself, the police chief, Kim, Gene, Jen, we all sat down. It's Dave, I don't remember what his last name was, but he's actually owner of Taylor Communications, I don't know his last name's Taylor, but, they tailor to municipalities with police departments, they don't do a whole lot. Private entities like other companies, they do a few, but they're actually trying to get more out of that. Because there's so much with technology for police department, fire departments, that they're kind of streamlining themselves into that. and they have more service technicians than our existing company does, and they answer the questions a lot quicker, cause I've had a few already, Jen's had a few.
Right.
We've already called and talked to them, and it didn't cost us anything, it was just a recommendation from him.
And even the recommendations for this came from him.
Yeah.
So on this page
At
here,
no
is
charge.
that's that total on the bottom, and that would be something that the police department,
Yes.
you guys need,
So with the
Absolutely.
police department,
all of that?
the police department kind of needs a server separate, so that we're not tied to the town. It's harder to get outside access. Each officer should have their own login for the police, or for every computer. So if I jump on a computer over here, jump on one over here, I have to have a login of my own, but it's still the same information that I can access off of both goes through the server.
Sure.
And then nobody else has access to my files, whether it be if I'm doing a background investigation or anything else, some of the officers and other people should not have access to that stuff.
That's a good thing.
It's equipment, a lot of equipment that we need to update and stuff we don't have that we should have to make.
In these times and how
Yes,
all the new
yes, and-
technology.
And plus,
There's government requirements that
Please.
we have to obey also as far as securities and things like that, especially with us being on a county system. They don't want an outside company being able to get in and access their system because we're going through counties.
and
Alright.
a lot
And
of,
this is
a lot,
something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible, but it will also move into the new building at no extra cost. Means
When that's done.
Yes,
that's a great
it'll just,
point.
everything will move.
Alright, so are we talking then the third page from the end, which is the server?
Yep.
11,165,
And then continued on the next page.
which is the annual cost, one time a year. That's what's gonna happen now.
And I will say, with regard to Chad's concerns, those have been some of the biggest frustrations with moving forward with communication recommendations, things like that. Keiko, when he came in, stated that I don't have a lot of experience with police departments, but I have no problem getting up to speed with it. And then that responsiveness fell off.
Mhm.
So that's the big thing, is that he said, I don't have a lot of experience, but I can learn, I can do it, I'll get on board with that, blah, 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 and then wasn't responsive. Taylor already knows both.
And it sounds like we are not up to speed as well.
I mean, they're saying things now that should have been addressed the first week of coming in for us.
And
Right,
there was,
that's-
there was stuff that was done under the previous chief that didn't meet what we needed to meet.
Alright, so,
I just have another question, okay. I totally understand the police department security is everything with what you guys have going on. Do we have a timeline? I know you guys are saying that that's a priority at this moment. What's your timeline, or when is all this other stuff, and how much does that add up to that, when do you need that done, or what's?
I don't think we have, I think it's something that we work on eventually. I do have in designated funds the amount for the police department server. That would be no, like, additional.
Additional for this year?
No, it would just be a budget amendment, we already have the money set aside in designated funds for computer office equipment.
So you guys aren't looking like we need our stuff, or updated, or whatever you guys need by July, or anything
So
like that?
the motion should be limited to police department server for whatever dollar amounts are on those pages.
That's what I was going for, is that we're not doing this whole.
one
Police
is,
Yeah, right
department's
now,
not what
it-
she needs.
Yep.
page 8, 9, and 10, 8, 9, 8,
Not as a question.
yep. Alright,
Not as a question.
what is it?
also, besides the server for the police department, I don't know if we can do it in the same motion, is just if we have a computer problem generally, if we can use them instead of Keiko.
Having them as a service.
You know,
Because they are so
Something
much
comes
quicker.
out.
Just switching over to them, period.
The
Right.
basics, for basic.
Well, I guess,
Well,
Yeah,
we're
that's-
set up then.
I guess I would agree with Chad's initial comment, then the concern is I'm concerned that we're going down the same path, like, initially we thought Keiko was great, cause they had municipality experience, we didn't look at anyone else. Now,
But
what do other, I mean, what do other police departments, who do they use? Who does the fire district use? Who does Mukwonago use? Who does East Troy use, other than Eagle? Should we be putting all our eggs in one basket again, or have we learned from that?
Well, I think we'll be signaling it anyway, because if we do the server, that is a project by itself. We'll know how they perform on that, whether or not we're gonna continue with them. That's the critical part. We will find that out, but you're right, there's a whole bunch of companies that do this.
There's a
Yeah.
ton of companies, but they don't all specialize
True.
in municipalities with police departments.
And these guys.
That's where it narrows it down.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
But
the
they're not-
priority,
And the fact that they
the
can
priority is the PD. That's it.
And the fact that they can be on call.
Don't forget about
and
DPW.
respond
Yeah,
in a
that's-
timely manner according to their.
And have
job
sufficient
duties.
staff.
Yeah.
So that would, IT support and the police server, that would be the motion now, that's what it should be. And we can look at
Well,
further.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, we're talking about information technology, vitally important to the police department, vitally important to the court, vitally important for the clerk treasurer, vitally important for us. This is to get rid of rack space. I'm ready to get rid of rack space.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we're
This
not
is-
residents.
And
Yeah,
that,
Rats
and
and
that's the
animals.
piece
All
of
of this
it
is
in my brain.
important, it ought to have our attention. There is no way this issue's going away.
Right.
This is all important. They've given us 5 bullet points and a service agreement. And it's gonna be here in a month, we should deal with it now. And what don't you want on here? A police department clerk desk switch, network equipment rack.
I don't know what I don't want or do.
I don't have a copy of the contract, so I'm not even sure what's.
I have no clue, but that's why we're just asking, so that.
And I don't think it's a matter of what we don't want, I think it's a matter of doing our due diligence.
Well, if it's urgency for me, it's, I mean, I guess you gotta make a motion.
And it's, a lot of it's integrated, because there's the police department, we've got the squad room with the chief's office and stuff like that, but then I also have to be connected into that system. And then if we're looking at a network for the township, where Kim and I and Jen can all get to planning commission minutes and agendas, and we can all get to town minutes and agendas, and then we have certain things that you're limited by passwords, okay, so you have that network server, and Kim has files, I can't get into hers because I don't have access to them, I don't have permission for that. She doesn't have permission for mine, I don't have permission for Jen's court stuff, but it's all integrated, so are we gonna piecemeal it where they do something and then, okay, we've approved this next step, then do we have to kind of redo some of what they've already done?
I'd like to make a motion.
Please.
I'd like to make a motion that we do the proposal for the town of East Troy AV server for our police department for $11,165.65. And I don't know how to say the next part, but minimal or whatever IT needs.
IT support.
Small IT needs support for the town, and we'll go from there.
At the rate of $1.30 per hour.
Second.
At the rate of $1.30 per hour.
Yes, okay, we have a second by Barb. Any further discussion? On the motion, all fair say aye.
I,
Opposed?
No.
Okay,
Who knows? Alright, so we're gonna do the first part, and I think what will happen here is that we'll know right away when we tell them, here's the part we need right now. I don't think the integration problem is gonna be a big issue here. I do think we'll find out if they really are as good as they say they are. I think, you know, that's the proper way to do it. I don't think we're gonna approve this whole thing all in one shot, because first of all, we don't have money to do it. Number two, we don't know yet, you know, if these guys truly are as good as we hope they are. So the motion, carries to do that first part, 3-2. Okay. Alright, annual meeting reports deadline, when you need everything, Kim?
We would like it by Wednesday, this Wednesday, 12th.
12.
Written reports that can be copied and put in the packets, so they don't have to be read verbatim during the annual meeting.
What do you want to report?
It's on the
You
agenda.
have to use it, read verbatim?
No, they don't have to be, they'll be in
No.
the packets for people when
To
they come in
read.
and
So
join.
like the people,
You could say it's on the communication committee, you could reference the report, and you don't have to read it to everybody and bore everybody to tears.
You're
And
trying to
if
shorten
somebody-
this up.
Thank you. But somebody could ask you a question like, oh, Michelle, what is the communication committee doing? General, brief, succinct. Just praying and hoping.
Wednesday, what time?
Hold the business, please.
By noon.
It's
No,
Monday-
4
it's 10
o'clock.
o'clock Monday night.
Okay,
Right.
4 o'clock Wednesday.
4 o'clock Wednesday, then we can, we have all day Thursday to get them together.
Yes.
okay, that's,
So why 4 o'clock? Then that would be.
Okay, so
Then we have on Thursday morning.
when I get in at 8 o'clock in the morning, it better be in my inbox.
Yes.
And please CC,
My
both-
inbox,
please CC
not
both
hers.
of us, because if one of us
Case I
gets hit
die.
by a bus,
Yes.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's gonna drop on punchy here. Okay, we're now on to attorney's report, update on agreements with Wisconsin and ability to strike for the State Road 20 project.
Yes, I've been in communication with you, you've been in communication with the village of East Troy as to what changes are necessary on the intergovernmental agreement. I have modified the state/municipal maintenance agreement here that I'll pass down to you. I would suggest that you don't sign this yet until we have approved the village's modified intergovernmental agreement. But once we approve that, this is what we'll be signing, not the original that was sent to us. So that's the update on that.
Okay, update on records retention research, I guess you did some of this already.
I sent an email to the board, I heard back from the Historical Society regarding, video and audio meeting on 90 days. That's what they said is required for record retention. That's my update on that.
Okay.
Next, I just need authorization regarding the, boat launch parking fee ordinance.
I'd like to authorize Attorney Mills to update the ordinance for new fees at the boat launch.
Second.
And if there's a motion, second, any discussion, hearing
We
none, all-
need to define what the fees are for you, or you're gonna make that at your discretion, or?
No, wasn't he gonna check with someone?
no,
no, it should be.
NR 191 dictates what, can be charged.
So we're just
Not
gonna
to
go
exceed.
up to the max is what we're going to do.
Yes, and it's gonna be probably less than the one, but it's gonna be the max
That we can charge.
So for all fees, we're going to adjust?
I think just look at all of them so we can see if we're still in compliance with where we're at now, I think we did it.
Well, we're in compliance because we're below the max.
That's right, it's not going down, it's going up, so, but that we looked at too, just to make sure that it's all.
I'll just up everything and then you can tell me, I'll show you what it was and here's the max and you just tell me if you like it or not.
So then that means we have to change the newsletter,
Right.
because we have all the
Yeah.
fees
Well,
included in the
That
newsletter.
may be the number, but like I said, we're authorizing him today, and Todd also needs that for the other part of it, that we're going to discuss.
Then all the signage
What's your
needs to
deadline
change.
on the newsletter?
I don't know,
Well, we're meeting again on the 24th, so
I thought we were just.
get mailed out on there, yeah.
we'll know by then, right?
I just won't put it on my attorney report until June.
There we go.
So then we'll say,
Yeah, but
when
that's
we
not-
published it, they were the current
Yeah,
rates.
but, I mean, and we're selling annual boat passes too, at the old rates. So are we gonna change that?
I think that everything is printed and all that type of stuff, I think there'll be no reason to do that part. The thing is, we're establishing new spaces, we don't have that established at all, so we have to, because we're doing.
Right, but we don't have to update
No,
every
we
other.
don't have to. But, so Jim's looking at it, he can say, hey, we're behind the times here, next year.
There's now, this is the max.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it never goes down, it always goes up. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on that, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye, opposed? None, motion carried.
Can I
Okay,
just ask one more question, sorry?
Yeah.
So then, are we publishing them in the newsletter, because that's what they are today, when the newsletter is going out?
well, we're gonna probably
I
know.
would keep them as they are now. Because the board hasn't approved any
Right.
changes as
Right.
of yet.
So I'm gonna put it in,
Yeah, I
that's
think
what it
we're
is,
gonna have
that's
to-
not a publishing.
The one we need to know are the new spaces.
Right.
So we don't know what we're gonna charge, but that will be,
And
The change
it's
this year, the other ones
estimated
coincide
amount of
once
the
everything
hours
else
for the new
Could be.
spaces. They're non-motorized, visitor.
Okay, public comments period number 2.
I'd like to talk briefly about the records retention. I want to thank Chairman Klarkowski. Him and I spent 45 minutes on the phone approximately talking about record retention and talking about what transpired at the annual meeting a few years ago. And I sent him links to the meetings. I gave him a link to my YouTube channel that shows all 300 videos that I have out there. And the viewership, I have some some videos that have 1,200 views on them. I have some that have 50 views. I have some that have 100. It really is topic sensitive how many views you're gonna get depending on what the topic is. If we're gonna spend all this money on cameras, microphones, all your time, all my time sitting over there, I think we should do the taxpayers of the township a favor and give them more than 90 days of retention. My stuff's gonna be there. I'm gonna keep recording until I can't record anymore. So my stuff will be there, but I think if we're gonna be a professional operation, we need to have retention so that it's there for long-term use. So just to make sure if somebody questions something, or if you get into a lawsuit or something happens, you can go back and find out exactly what was said, who said it, on the date they said it, so that it's clear. Because without the ability to go back and look, it's just, I think that's what was said, you don't know. So, we're putting all this effort and all this time into it. I think that we should do the taxpayers this favor and, have it for 7 years like everyone else. And I'm gonna go over to Village of McGuanago, I'm gonna go to Village of East Troy, and I'm gonna ask them if they can give us me in writing what they do for retention. And I'm gonna bring that to the board, cause it's gonna be coming up on the agenda here in the future. And I know from personal experience, when I was on the ad hoc committee for the township here for communications, I went down to Muskego, and they use YouTube, and they hold everything for 7 years. Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes.
I was hoping to get out without having to have comments. Long meeting leaves comments. The first thing we were talking about, the YouTube page and things. What I felt, being part of the communications committee, is there's been two organizations doing two independently things instead of working together. And that means the town employees and the communications committee. And I thought the ad hoc committee suggested that the communications committee should champion getting us all put together. And so what I would just ask is, can we work together as we're doing the testing? I mean, do real testing and work together instead of having independent activities. The budget for any of the equipment that's in here, I thought was part of the communications budget, right? So how this money was spent, I asked Michelle, and she said she doesn't have an itemized list. So if there's a way to get an itemized list to the communications committee, that would be helpful. Two, with regard to Taylor Computer Services, it's already voted on the server. A server is not a hardware device necessarily. A server can be a partition in a hard disk. It can be multiple hard disks in a box. I have concerns with what I've heard. Why aren't we going out to bid on this with 3 bidders, like we just did with all these other? why don't we put a spec together, like we didn't have for Keiko, and that's why we had that discussion, you know? A lot of questions in what I heard, I don't know what you're getting, I'm not an expert, but what I heard, I'm concerned. The last thing is, parking fees. Gene and I worked on that Bugle Boulevard thing, and I thought 6 weeks ago, if not 2 months ago, we said we were gonna keep the fees.
That was my understanding.
Yes, so that's why we went forward with all this, so I would just caution, and if you change the, vehicle only, and that goes higher than the other one, you're gonna have a lot of questions, I think. We matched them $8 a piece, so I just, be cautious about trying to make changes at this late stage.
Well, we have to follow the law too, that's why we're authorized to do it.
No, I know,
I hope it's gonna be that.
as long as we're below, we could leave the old ones, and that was the discussion
Yeah.
2 months ago.
I think it'll be fine. Thank you. Any other public comments? Good, okay. Oh, we're getting on a record here. Okay, license and special event permits.
I have a question for that. Can you read all of them, and then I make a motion, and then we can all vote on it, or do they have to be individually read?
Operators, operators.
Consent.
The first two need to be
Yes.
separate,
Okay.
and then the rest can be a bulk
All
approval. Are you ready?
Good.
Okay, the first one is a operator's license for Stephanie Furter. I would recommend that the board approve it pending her background check completed.
I move that we approve operator's license for Stephanie Freer, dependent on her background check.
All right, discussion, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Who was the
Aye.
second?
Aye.
Bill.
Okay, I didn't hear it.
It was instantaneous.
Okay, the next one is an operator's license for Lance Rosenmeyer. His is a renewal and there are no issues.
I move that we approve Lance Rosenmeyer's operator's license.
Bill second, discussion, none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, we have special events permits for Tom Vanderborgert for the Lakeview Protective and Improvement Association for Burns Park on May 13th. The next one is for Gary Elliott for a memorial service at Burns Park on May 20th. The third one is Sarah Bricchio, a graduation party at Burns Park on June 10th. Tim Lang, a regatta at the Lakeview Yacht Club, June 26th, and June 28th through the 30th. Caroline Tarzak, another regatta at the Lakeview Yacht Club on July 21st through July 23rd. And Todd Shield, a children's birthday party at Burns Park on August 6th.
I make a motion that, to approve all of those.
Second.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. All right, we have a couple of meetings here.
Yeah, June 26th. Meetings.
Meetings,